Sometimes you get to watch something on TV that just puts an infinite amount of smiles on your face. And we had that experience last night. Let's talk about it next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. I can never do Bo well. But welcome into the PHLY Eagles podcast. Not Zach Berman and Bo Wolf.
Nope.
Jamie Lynch and Rich Hoffman in with you. But call to action tonight, 8 o'clock. You're going to want to tune in to Zach and Bo, who are currently right now, Rich, in the Eagles locker room. Always kind of a sad day, but this is the preferred way to end it as champions.
Only one of 32 get the happy, the bittersweet locker room clean out.
It's sad in that a lot of these guys are going to be gone next year. The spoils of winning is some guys make a lot of money that you can't match in this league. And whether Josh Sweat and Milton Williams and Mekhi Becton and Kenny Gainwell, if any of these guys are Zach Baun even, hopefully some of these guys are back, but not all of them will be back. So it's kind of bittersweet in a weird way, but obviously a great way because the Philadelphia Eagles are world champions.
I like that you put Kenny Gainwell in that group.
He kind of, I would want Kenny Gainwell back a little bit. I know they. I
just don't think he's going to be nearly the premium free agent that the other four guys you mentioned.
No, he's certainly not. But he performed well this year, I thought.
He was a delight this year.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
And I think when last year ended, I think it was just me and Bo in the postgame show after the Tampa Bay playoff loss. And I was like, the season on the line, and you had to Kenny bleeping Gainwell.
Well, that's what it was last year. You were within your rights to do that. That's how everybody felt.
Yeah.
Kenny G was, I mean, again, he wasn't called on that often because Saquon took so much of the offensive load this year. But, man, whenever he was called upon,
he was great.
Had some juice.
And, of course, we are presented by our friends at Bet365. Find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. New users, when you sign up, can use promo code PHLY365. And our friends over at Ace Hardware Home Services. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. All right, Rich. Last night was pretty awesome. So, by the way, I don't even know if I said the time. 8 o'clock tonight, Zach and Bo, they're going to be recapping all of locker room clean out today. They're going to be talking to the guys, getting some interviews, talking to those looming free agents, seeing what they think. And, of course, tomorrow's a pretty big event in town. The parade, we'll get into all of that and more. But last night, it's very rare that I set a DVR. How often? Are they still called DVRs? I don't even... Digital.
I don't even know what they are.
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't even know. I just hit record on Hulu.
Yeah, and
I still want to call them TiVos. The boomer in me was like, I set my TiVo last night to record the program. But it was a fun one last night.
You don't do it that often. I did set it on my internet streaming provider, which I'm not going to name because they stink. But you know what? It kind of reminded me of the days of when everybody, I would say mostly everybody, some people had DirecTV, but a lot of people had Comcast, Xfinity. Man, when you had one of those old remotes for like 7-8 years and you were just working with that thing and you just knew every inch of that remote.
Look at it. Yeah.
Just the
Did you ever
wand.
grow up with the scramble box? Did you ever get the scramble box?
No.
Oh, we had a scramble box once. Yeah. It was pretty cool. So anyway, last night, 8 o'clock, NFL Network premiered Mic'd Up, the Super Bowl edition. And before last night, I had not watched a replay of the game yet. Had you? Because I know some people are on like their 4th and 5th viewing already at this point this week.
So I didn't watch a replay of the full game, but I did have on my TiVo or whatever you're calling it. I did have the game recorded, and I did go back and watch like the Coop pick six, the Devontae kill shot, a lot of the best plays of the game, the Milton strip sack at the end. I did watch a lot of those plays, but not the full game, though.
It was, I had not watched it. And then immediately after Mic'd Up, they showed the full game. And I thought I was going to be a responsible adult because I was kind of tired. I was like, I'm going to go to bed right after Mic'd Up. And then they started replaying the game. And I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm in. So I watched the full game again last night. It was a very enjoyable 3 hours of television, watching Mic'd Up right into the, kind of condensed game a little bit. They cut out a lot of the fluff and just got right to it. It was, my wife left me after a little, she watched a little bit of Mic'd Up.
My wife left me.
She said, I'm going out for cigarettes and I'm never coming back, you loser. But she left me. She was like, all right, I see you're going to be watching this for a while. Sure. I'm going to go watch TV upstairs. And I was like, I'm like taking notes and I'm just like, smiling ear to ear. It was just awesome. And the thing before we get into like our favorite moments, the thing I left with it was like, what an enjoyable 53 group of men plus the coaching staff and everybody. Everybody came off so likable, so dialed in, so focused to the goal. And we'll get into some of the anecdotes from the Mic'd Up, but like they were so prepared and ready for that game. It was just awesome to rewatch.
It's awesome, James. And when you win the Super Bowl, I learned this 7 years ago that, you do get some spoils, right?
Sure.
And some of them are, hopefully during the NFL draft, when the Eagles are picking 32nd, they bring David Akers to wherever the draft is this year. And
Dallas.
he can make fun of the Cowboys. Yeah. That's one of them. The first game next year, right? The opening night game where everybody has to watch the game at the link, unveil the banner, all that good stuff. All of the perks. There are a bunch, but one of the parade, obviously the parade's going to be a blast tomorrow. That's the big one. But the Super Bowl Mic'd Up is underrated for the nerds, because the Super Bowl 52 Mic'd Up is one of the most legendary pieces of content I think ever. And that was a little bit different, James, because the game was closer. It was back and forth. There was a storytelling cinematic quality to that this one could not provide, because the Eagles just whooped that the whole game, right? And they were just showing the clips. And it was also where we learned that Nick Foles said, "Hey, you want Philly?" So we didn't have that sort of reveal in this one, but man, what an incredible piece of content yet again. And by the way, the one from the Super Bowl 57 Mic'd Up, never watched it.
No,
why would I want to watch that?
Why would I watch that? Yeah.
There's probably something cool that the Eagles did in that game too.
But I have no desire to ever watch that.
I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, it's rare that I rewatch games, but losses, not even in consideration. Before we get into our favorite moments, Rich, do you smell that delicious Thuman quality deli meats in the air?
I do. It's right there.
Our friends at Primo's sent us over a delightful hoagie tray that we've been enjoying all day. So as their turkey breast, I'm a turkey aficionado. The Primo's turkey meat, put it up against anybody.
Excellent.
Okay. What was your favorite moment of the Mic'd Up? And then I'll give mine.
And I want everybody in the chat to kind of chime in.
Please share your favorite moments.
Their takeaways from a lot of the things we're going to talk about. Because I know a lot of you sickos watch this just like Jamie and I did. I watched it twice. I watched it last night, not taking notes, and I watched it this morning.
That's great.
Taking notes. Because really, I just wanted to watch it twice, too. It wasn't really like I wanted to watch it closer or anything. I just wanted to watch it twice. It was very enjoyable. So my favorite moment, Jamie, was not any one specific moment, kind of a theme, 4 or 5 moments brought together. And that is that Saquon Barkley, the entire team, from the players to the coaches to Howie Roseman at the end to Jeffrey Lurie at the very end, told him, even though he did not have a big Super Bowl, they all told him, man, this was you. Like, this was you. You were the missing piece, Jalen Hurts told him. There was a great moment when the first person who said it was Jamal Singleton, who is the Eagles running backs coach.
Yes, who Les Bowen had a great story about on Radio Row last week. He was almost an Air Force pilot.
Yeah.
Very cool story on Jamal.
It's the spiritual successor to Ken Flajole. and Z-Berm wrote a story about him being like a secret agent once or something like that.
Who Chris Long has tattooed on his body, I believe, right?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, Jamal Singleton seems like he's doing a nice job with the running backs. So he's sitting with Saquon towards the end of the game, and he says they spent their whole scheme on trying to stop 2-6. And by doing so, they let everybody else eat. And he tells Saquon, just remember that. And like Saquon, the whole game, he was great. It felt like, honestly, Jamie, like, it felt like he was coaching the team a little bit more than Nick Sirianni, honestly, at times. He's telling everybody to like calm down. And he was honestly like me watching the game. Like he was not excited with the 24-0 lead.
And I'm like, Rich, come on, man. It's 24-0. Let's crack a beer. And you're
by
like,
the way,
not yet. A lot of football left.
You were Nick Sirianni. And by the way, like good for Nick Sirianni too. This is not a dig on him by any means. You hear Nick Sirianni at one point in the mic'd up says, we could celebrate this for a second. It's like, it's a long commercial break. It's okay. Yeah. We could celebrate this for a second. But from Jamal Singleton to Jalen tells him that, like, man, you were the missing piece. Like, you were the guy.
That one got me.
You were the guy. Nick tells Saquon that. Howie says, like, man, thank you for trusting us. Like, Howie is, like, crying in Saquon's arms. And then Jeffrey Lurie is like, you are, like, the consummate professional. You are exactly what we are looking for. Like, thank you, all of those things. And I think that was important because you could tell that they had Saquon mic'd up. He was one of the key figures. I don't know, like, the degrees. Everybody was mic'd up, but you could tell they had Saquon, they had Zach Baun.
Yeah.
They had a few other guys that were more mic'd up than other people. They had the cameras following them. And I just thought it was cool that in the game when, yeah, sure, the Chiefs, they sold out to shut Saquon down. Congratulations, Spags. You did let everybody else eat because of it. The mic'd up did a good job of showing, A, how much the Eagles, everybody, the infrastructure, how much the players, coaches, how much they really appreciate him. And B, kind of just like him soaking it all in as well.
Yeah. I think Saquon was definitely. I think Jalen Hurts' coolness and Saquon's, just like he's perfect. You know what I mean? Like from the way, just like guys, it's not over yet. To the respect he showed the Chiefs defense. Like at one point, he sat down on the bench and was like, "Damn, that's a sound defense over there for real." Like he was impressed with their defense, which to me made the blowout more impressive. For Saquon to be like, damn, that's a good defense. And to just put up 40 on them. I know some of that's a defensive touchdown, but like it was just, it made me appreciate the blowout more when Saquon appreciated that was a really good defense. So he was just kind of perfect throughout it.
Well, and he was the perfect teammate too. And I don't know this exact story, but do you remember hearing about the 85 Super Bowl and they didn't give Walter Payton a touchdown?
Yeah, sure.
And he was pretty bummed afterwards.
Yeah, as he should have been.
Now, in fairness, like they actually had opportunities to give him the ball around the goal line. And the Eagles, they gave Saquon some carries inside the 10-yard line. Just didn't happen or whatever. But I think he was disappointed after the game, which is fine or whatever. There was none of that with Saquon. Like he's leading Nick Sirianni, the Gatorade bath. He's like directing AJ and Devontae. He's having fun with his daughter, who's got the eagle flapping on the hat, on the brim of the hat. That was very cute. Anyway, he was like the perfect team player the entire way. And yeah, he did not have the storybook individual Super Bowl, but who cares?
Yeah.
You won the Super Bowl and you capped off the greatest running back season I have seen.
And Jalen kind of reminded him of that in their embrace at the end when they knew it was over. He was like, I think he said something like, "You're the reason we're here, and don't forget that." Like meaning like, hey, I know you didn't like light up the score sheet today, but you're the reason we were able to be in this game and being able to thrive because they were so focused on you. You made everybody's life easier. My favorite moment, I'll get into in 1 second, but Jalen Hurts' just overall demeanor was so, like, I make fun of him for being a cliche machine and a robot at times, but like his demeanor was so cool to just have everybody relaxed, focused. He came off like and obviously he is a winner, but he came off like an absolute champion. Even when, Jordan Mailata's in his face after the big touchdown pass, he's just like quiet, like, yeah, all right. I think he did the finger gun salute when he completed it, and like that was kind of it. And he just seemed to like take everything in. I don't know if he meditates or what, but like that dude between the ears has it together.
So on that play, I actually took the specific notes of that one down where he throws a touchdown pass. Every one of his offensive linemen are congratulating him. Lane is doing the proper handshake with him. And at the end, Mailata says, "Can't F with you, dog." And Jalen just quietly, this is the first thing he says to any of his teammates who are high-fiving him. He just quietly says, I know. Like it wasn't that cocky, but it was just like, I know.
I got this.
So, I thought it was striking too, and this isn't that surprising, but because it was a Super Bowl mic'd up moment, and the Eagles have Jalen mic'd up throughout the year, so I don't want to say that this was a complete surprise, but seeing his demeanor compared to what we usually get at press conferences and at public appearances, clearly stuff that he has rehearsed to be a quarterback, and by a quarterback I mean boring. Right? That's what all quarterbacks do. They are typically boring on purpose. To just see him just be excited for some of his teammates, I thought it was interesting. His interactions with both Devontae Smith and AJ Brown at the end, they were like a little bit different too. You know, like it was like, I don't know. It felt like a little more matter of fact with AJ, and Devontae's like crying, and but basically the gist of both of those is we've been through a lot.
Yeah. The thing that stuck out to me about the AJ conversation was I told you this bleep when we had that call, and I immediately, like, my brain's mental image of their FaceTime call, which is way too much internet in my brain, came to mind, and like I thought of that call. And them, I have to go back and watch it actually, but I'm sure they said something along the lines of like, we're going to get this done together. This is going to be awesome. So for him to like, just be like, yeah, I told you we were going to do this, man. Him and Devontae was much more emotional. Like Devontae looked on the verge of tears. Him and AJ was more of just like matter of fact. We knew this was going to happen. We talked about it. So very cool stuff. Before we take a quick break to tell you about some of our friends here, one of my favorite moments, which really made me laugh out loud, and my wife was sitting with me at this. I believe it was CJGJ leading the defense in a yoga breathing exercise.
So funny.
Was so funny. He called everybody over, and they started doing the deep breathing exercises.
My hardest laugh of the whole 40 minutes. Well, did you see too? And I think they're probably up like 17-0 at this point. It might have been right after the coup pick six. It was around that point in the middle of the game where it felt like it was over, but it wasn't like after the kill shot yet. And he leads them in the breathing exercise. 1, 2, 3. Everybody takes a breath. And if you watch that video, Josh Sweat and Darius Slay are cracking up.
Yeah, I saw it. Slay was in the background, like right in the center, and he starts cracking up.
The two of them are dying. It's clearly something they hadn't done. I mean, Zach Baun's like, what's going on right now?
CJGJ's leading us on a breathing exercise. Very funny stuff. I really, I chortled quite loud at that one. And my wife, who's a yoga head, was like, I love it. They're doing yoga exercises. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, totally. CJGJ is leading the charge.
Not the guy you would expect to be doing that.
Exactly the guy you thought would lead it.
Big week for CJGJ. Did you see that he gifted all of his teammates their high school jerseys? Not all of them, but some of them.
So there must have been a shop in New Orleans that sold that type of stuff, because I saw one of the Barstool guys get a Caitlin Clark high school jersey. So there must have been like a high school jersey shop in New Orleans that I guess word got out to. So yeah, CJGJ went and he definitively got AJ, Jalen, and Saquon's high school jersey. I wonder how many more he was able to get, but I think that's where Nick Sirianni got the Starkville, Mississippi one from AJ.
Well, that's like I don't know. I feel like that could be a pretty profitable business. I remember
definitely,
especially like the way people wear throwback jerseys, like at the Shore,
oh, absolutely,
at, like, festivals, concerts, stuff like that. I just remember as a kid the two jerseys were the Kobe Lower Merion and the LeBron St. Vincent St. Mary's. But some of these football jerseys would do really well.
Yeah.
Too.
I used to go to Rice's Market growing up. I don't know if you're familiar with Rice's, but they used to sell, I don't know if they were bootleg or hot or real, whatever, NBA jerseys. I had an impeccable NBA jersey collection as a youth. Now that I got a lot fatter in life, I don't really rock the NBA jerseys anymore. So
it would be a little sadder for both of us to do it.
But I did have that phase in my life.
I'm watching the video right now, picturing myself in an NBA jersey, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like it.
Yeah, I hope a friend in life would come up to me and be like, Jamie, you can't wear those anymore. All right. On that note, let's take a quick moment to tell you about our friends here at PHLY. And if I did want to go out and buy the entire Eagles team collection of high school jerseys, look, we're all spending some money on Super Bowl merch. Tons of money is being spent in the Delaware Valley these days, because when your team wins, it's fun to celebrate and get the memorabilia and the collectibles. and maybe, just maybe, you're piling up a little bit of credit card debt. Well, with our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you can pay those off even quicker. But hurry, you have until February 28th to take advantage of this amazing offer. What if you can pay that credit card off faster and with zero interest until 2026? It's true, because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So all your payments go towards reducing your balance and not just covering the interest. So transfer your existing balance to a TrueMark Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. So you can also, aside from the balance transfer, earn rewards, cash back, and maybe you just simply prefer a lower rate for everyday purchases. TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate.
And Jamie, now let's talk about our friends at Rothman Orthopedics. Everyone has a specialty that they love. For some of you, it might be running, it might be gardening. For others, it's shooting hoops, playing tennis, getting out there. And at Rothman Orthopedics, their physicians are not only specialized in orthopedics and clinical research, but they are fellowship trained to treat specific areas of the body. Since 1970, their physicians have remained committed to research, innovation, and minimally invasive procedures to get you back in what you specialize in. They are Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. And there are two unbelievable things about Rothman, Jamie. In my opinion, there are a million, but these are the two that you need to know. Whatever is ailing you, they have a specialist. Knee, shoulder, neck, whatever. They have somebody who specializes in that area of the body. And there are locations all over the Delaware Valley. Our guy, Devon, who is sitting about 45 feet away from us.
The Godfather, he sleeps right upstairs.
He tore his Achilles a couple years ago, and Rothman got him back on the court. He's moving great. That is certainly not a fun one to get. And it was Rothman who brought him back. There are locations all over the Delaware Valley for you to check out. Rothman Orthopedics, specialized in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today.
All right, this is the PHLY Eagles podcast presented by our friends at Bet365 and Ace Hardware Home Services. To get started on your next project, visit acehardwarehomeservices.com. Hello to all the sickos in the chat. Let's get a little thumbs up in the chat for the mic'd up last night, which I now have on my DVR/TiVo/ whatever the hell you want to call it, for life. And it's something I'm just going to look at on days where I need a smile. It was very awesome. We're sharing some of our favorite memories from Mic'd Up. Rich, let's just run through some other great moments. I wish I kind of did what you did, which was watch it live, digest it, and then go back and watch it and take notes. I was taking notes live while I was watching it, which kind of, I was just like all over the place.
I don't want to act like I went above and beyond. This was a decision made out of my pleasure, I would say.
So one of my favorite moments now in hindsight watching it, I missed it because we were doing the pregame. So we kind of missed Bradley Cooper and John Hamm's introductions of the teams. John Hamm, I semi-like, kind of has a bad dude history behind him. Better actor than he is a person, I would say, to pull out the old Bull Wolf.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Look up his Baylor University frat hazing incidents. Yikes. So to watch him introduce the team and be so energetic and enthusiastic, and then for them to get absolutely steamrolled was very funny to watch, with hindsight being 2020.
Do you think it's the equivalent of the Patriots coming out to Crazy Train?
Not quite that funny, but close. Like, it was pretty fun. Like, when the thing kicked off, I started laughing.
I still haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen the intros. I got to watch that. I mean, I kind of thought it was a little hokey that, like, actors were involved coming out. Like,
well, Bradley Cooper, being the great guy that he is, brought, I forget what the child that he had with him was inflicted with, but it was kind of like a very cool moment for that kid to do the EAGLES chant with Bradley Cooper. So it was very cool on Bradley Cooper's part. John Hamm, better actor than he is person. Very funny to watch the tears flow for him.
I say this as somebody who loves Bradley Cooper as an actor, thinks he's just like, seems like genuinely just like a very good guy, down to earth, hasn't let fame.
Went to Julia's high school.
Hasn't let, GA guy. has not let fame get to his head, and like clearly is just like a huge Eagles fan,
Yeah.
like just like a diehard Eagles fan, just a local guy like us or whatever. I love Bradley Cooper, but yeah, I wish they kind of just ran out to like music, like they did last time. Whatever. But I'm commenting on something I didn't even see at this point.
Yeah. But I did enjoy watching John Hamm kind of suffer there. Now the first thing.
Wait a minute, that's true about John Hamm. He's a complete fraud. He's a St. Louis guy. I remember years ago listening to the Simmons pod. Thank you to Matthew in the chat for pointing this out. This is now back in my memory. Yeah, he's a St. Louis guy. The fact that he's like repping the Chiefs hard. I know your team left, but
come on,
man.
that's fraudulent. The two diehard Chiefs fans I know in Hollywood are Paul Rudd.
He's always been one.
Eric Stonestreet, who plays Cam from Modern Family. Those are the only two I know. That's kind of stolen valor by John Hamm. That's kind of BS. No,
is that like Missouri,
we'll put it in
Missouri pride?
Yeah, I guess.
Those cities don't like each other though, right?
Yeah,
it's like a Philly Pittsburgh type.
Yeah,
thing.
I think so.
Don Denkinger,
who?
I'll just let that one sit there. Don Denkinger. He was the ump who blew the call in the Royals Cardinals World Series.
That's depth of knowledge by you.
That's
right
a good
there.
one. Yeah.
For some reason, umps and refs names, it's just like in one ear, out the other for me.
Yeah.
I have no recollection of them.
So I will say one of the big differences between this mic'd up version and the one from 7-8 years ago is the ref was not as central of a figure. Ron Torbert, like Gene Steratore, I would argue was the star of the Super Bowl 52 mic'd up. Like he starts the game and the way he greets Foles and Brady, it's like for Brady, he's like, "Welcome back, man. You did it. God, you have a great game. We're going to try and help you with the hurry up stuff." And then with Foles, it's like, but it's a similarly nice message. It's like, "You made it here, man. Congratulations. This is fantastic." And obviously Gene did a great job. No, I love Gene. Every time I see Gene just mumble about a call on CBS, I'm like, that's my guy. That's my guy. So yeah, Ron Torbert was not as big of a factor on this one. I mean, I guess in part because the calls weren't as big.
Yeah.
Factor.
The first note I have down from watching was I really enjoyed Nick Sirianni's kid as he was saying goodbye to his dad before the game. Say, "Dad, tell Coop and Saquon happy birthday." I thought that was just like really. It kind of shows you the connectiveness of the team from staff to players, and like being the coach's son. Like these guys are like your heroes, and your dad gets to coach them. I just thought it was a really cool like connective tissue of it all.
He had a couple good family moments too. This wasn't part of the mic'd up, but his kid chanting Eagles after the game is over when he's doing his walk-off interview. It's great.
Yeah, that was really cool. Saquon yelling, I believe it was after the first drive, after the AJ penalty. I think that's when I have it right. He said, "Hey, chill. Hey, chill. Stay right here." And Saquon was kind of like, all right, this is no big deal. Nothing went wrong. We're still in this. Like, everybody keep their head on straight. I thought that was really funny, him just saying, "Hey, chill."
You could hear Jalen, too. But both Jalen and Saquon go up to AJ and say, "Good play. Don't worry about it." Oops, almost spilled my
that was kind of – and then Hurts on that same play. Actually, this was after the interception. Keep playing, keep your heads right here. And then Nick immediately on the sideline saying – the defense is going to get a stop, and we're going to get the ball back. Like, they had this calmness about them where it was just like, all right, just stay in the moment. Everything's fine. Stay the course. Everything's cool. So I really enjoyed watching those three kind of like, reverberate the message to the team of like, everything's fine.
And Mike in the chat says that he missed the mic'd up, but it'll be on again on Friday. Mike, it's on YouTube, man.
Yeah, it's on YouTube
you
now.
You can just go look it up.
Follow PHLY Eagles on Twitter. We retweeted it earlier. You can find it there.
It'll live there forever.
It's beautiful. The next note I have, and feel free to interject with any of your notes. Zach Baun telling Coop after his pick 6.
I have this.
Yeah. Basically, you saw I had the 2 underneath, and you jumped the route. That's some veteran ass bleep right there. That was just really cool because Coop, I don't think Coop was mic'd up. I think Baun was, and it was him talking down to Coop sitting on the bench. And to hear a vet say, like, that's some veteran ass bleep, that put a big smile on my face.
I think that play sums up the Vic Fangio defense more than any, because I've seen a lot of the film breakdowns. Fran has a great one on our site where he does the voiceover on YouTube as he's been doing all year. But the difference between the ones he's been doing all year and this one is that this one won a Super Bowl. So I just want to say this one will live forever. But it was what Fran was talking about after the game when you did the show with me, Vinny, and Fran. And he was just like, yeah, they played their basic cover 4 and they just executed the hell out of it. It was something. And if you watch that play, Quinion, perfect coverage on I think it was Hopkins. I think it was. But anyway, the thing I noticed right away was Quinion, I'm not sure he would have picked off that ball. That ball was not getting completed.
Yeah.
If DeJean.
Quinion, from all the replays last night, he was all over everyone.
He was. And that might have been the only time they barely threw at him. I guess that counts as throwing at him. But you also see from the all-22 view, you see Zach Baun take the 2 players in the flat like he's talking about. And, Coop is playing the underneath zone, underneath the quarters coverage. But you also see Darius Slay on that outside route. That guy's covered as well. And it's just like Oren Burks is the guy on the other side of the field. And you can tell that he's like, all right, nobody's over here, so I'm going to help out too. It just, the back 7 the whole year, the way they were able to work in concert, the way they were able to, those underneath defenders, it felt like they had eyes in the back of their head the entire year. And you saw it on the Baun interception, which I'm sure we'll get to as well. That play really summed up the Fangio defense, James. And it was something I wrote about today in the newsletter. It's like, I feel like the Spags.
Subscribe to Rich's newsletter if you haven't. It's awesome. Go to allphly.com. You can find the sign up for it. It's free. I read it every single morning.
Yeah,
it's great. So sign up.
It's free.
Yeah, it's free. It won't cost you nothing.
The Spagses of the world, the defensive coordinators that blitz, the Brian Flores guys. By the way, these are great coordinators. I'm not taking anything away from them. I feel like they inherently get a little more credit because you can see, oh, okay, they're doing something. They're blitzing, right? The play call. Simplicity can work too. And I think that is what Vic Fangio taught us this year. And on the other side of that coin, Jonathan Gannon doesn't have to be the poster boy for people who drop 4 and play coverage. You can teach that better than Jonathan Gannon did and just continue to play pretty much the same coverage over and over again. Same 3 or 4 coverages over and over again. And they were amazing.
I am a known Jonathan Gannon hater, so any slander you want to throw his way is fine with me.
Well, I mean, he's the biggest loser of the game.
Vic Fangio would have been here an entire year earlier had he not lied.
But James, Jonathan Gannon gave up one of the greatest offensive performances.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Nearly a perfect game from Jalen Hurts.
Forget the Super Bowl. Mahomes in the Super Bowl 2 years ago was perfect. Like it was like a 99th percentile EPA game. And then 2 years later, Fangio
makes him look like the worst quarterback ever.
It was like a Will Greer start.
Yeah.
Shield was talking about Super Bowl champion Will Greer, as we talk about now.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So yeah, Johnny Gannon's big loser from the game.
Huge loser. And if you don't want to be a loser, you should buy some of our great Super Bowl merch. Check that out right there on the lower third. There's the Gold Standard collection, which I think is very aptly named because I know Jeffrey Lurie got a lot of slack for his Gold Standard comments early in his tenure. Well, now they have become the Gold Standard, and we got some great merch. So head to allphly.com. Check out the locker room. Some great stuff there to get you suited, booted and suited for what's going to be a great enjoyable offseason.
There's a mention in the chat that Dickerson said he's going to need surgery.
Yes, I did see that.
In the offseason. We're going to leave that for Bo and Zach tonight, right?
Yes.
Bo and Zach are there in the locker room. There is probably plenty that they are going to learn.
But what a warrior. I mean, seriously, to play through that. And Cam Jurgens, I'm sure, was banged up too. I'm sure Bo and Zach will have, the litany of injuries that guys were playing with. But somebody in the chat said they fought like a Stanley Cup champion team. It did kind of seem like it was just like, yeah, you're not pulling me out of this.
Underrated storyline. And it wasn't really that big of a part of Mic'd Up, right? The only thing I really saw from Dickerson, I saw 2 things, right? He gives his kind of crazy pregame pump-up speech, which as we have seen, if you have been following the Eagles,
are awesome.
He gets pretty into it, I would say, Mr. Dickerson. And I think he also lifts Saquon up at the end of the game. But I think he was super banged up. And also, Cam Jurgens as well. I think that's something that hopefully doesn't go underrated through the years.
Yeah.
Like it was so crazy. The NFC Championship game, those guys being banged up, Jurgens not playing at the beginning because he's banged up, Dickerson only making it a half because it was
awesome.
And them just tapping in for each other. It was great.
And did you catch Dickerson's shotgun on Jimmy Fallon the other night?
I did. He was healthy enough to do that.
I was impressed with Saquon's shotgun in the locker room after the game. I was more impressed with Dickerson's shotgun on stage at Fallon. He might be the champ of the team. That was an impressive shotgunning right there.
Late night television is pretty funny now. They just bring these guys here and they say, "Do you want to shotgun a beer?"
I used to like. I know in
I wish I was the producer who got to write that script.
Yeah, like you can't even drink in commercials now. Late night TV, they're just like doing funnels and shotgunning beers. It's pretty cool. Before we move on to my next note, real quick on your Vic Fangio point, I think the biggest loser from Vic Fangio, his brilliant performance, is the entire Miami Dolphins defense and organization.
100%.
What a soft bunch of losers they must have been. And one thing I thought back to, Rich, was Vic Fangio when he first got here in OTAs this past spring, or maybe it was rookie camp, whatever it was. He told the defense, you guys are going to improve because you don't practice hard. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, though.
You've never been shown how to, and we're going to practice hard. And to see Nolan Smith and some of these guys after the game be like, man, I'd do anything for that guy. Like, he coached us so hard and so well this year. And now to look back at the Dolphins team of last year, who basically quit on Vic Fangio because he coached them too hard. What a tremendous bunch of losers.
CDP brought that up on yesterday's Eagle show, and he's absolutely right. I just, like, the fact that they're getting not even 1/30th of the flack that Joe Shane is getting.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason for that, they didn't film their terrible decisions. So they were smart enough to do that at least. But man, like, those losers just being salty and talking bad about Vic on the way out. And the Eagles have young guys too.
Yeah.
Like you would think
the youngest in the NFL.
You would think if there were kind of, new school players that wouldn't be able to take Vic's coaching, it would be the young guys from Georgia. And all those guys did great.
Yeah.
They did awesome, Did you see Vic on stage? Fran got that video of him like with a rapper or whatever. It was extremely funny. One thing about those guys too, Jamie, that I wish would have been on the mic'd up video, the hit, and Fran tweeted this out and Baldy tweeted this out. The hit that Nolan Smith had
on the pulling guard
on Trey Smith.
Oh man,
was
violent,
insane.
Violent.
It's like his fourth one of the year too. Obviously the playoffs start when he does that against Jenkins on the Packers. Like I wish. I've never seen anything like that. That is a guy that has over 100 pounds on Nolan Smith. He has a running head start, and Smith bent him backwards.
Yeah. Nolan Smith is
crazy.
Is going to continue to get better. That guy is nuts in the best possible way on the football field. He is like.
Do you think he was like too violent for mic'd up?
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think the NFL Films guys were like, we can't release this stuff? We got to at least be somewhat of a family show here.
Yeah, perhaps. Can't rule it out. All right, let's take a quick moment and tell you about some more friends of ours here at PHLY.
And James, we will start by talking about our friends at Shady Rays. It might be cold here in Philly. I think it's going to be like high 30s tomorrow for the parade. Probably the best weather day of the week.
38, I believe.
Honestly,
and sunny.
It was very cold for the last parade. But it is never too early to start thinking about the summer and the sun. And our friends at Shady Rays are helping you get in the right frame of mind with their premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product. They have been rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their sunglasses have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor activities and adventures. If you are a skier or snowboarder, Shady Rays has a brand new collection of snow goggles to help you see clearly on the slopes. And you can look good while doing that. They are available in both adults and kids sizes. And with so many colors available, you will find a pair that is perfect for you. Maybe some green ones for the birds. Shady Rays would come in handy if you are planning a trip, maybe a spring break type of trip, trying to get away from the cold weather. And if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by their lost or broken replacement program. And if you don't love your shades, exchange for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There is no risk when you shop at Shady Rays. The team always has your back with personal and fast support. PHLY viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off polarized sunglasses with code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So use code PHLY today at shadyrays.com.
And let me tell you about my friends over at Bet365. They made me a relatively wealthy man because I took some of my bonus bets from August when I signed up and I laid them on the Eagles plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl. So it was basically free money for me that I turned into even more money. And whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. They have over 90 million users worldwide, and that many people, they're just not going to be wrong. They stream over 780,000 events every year, and they have the best early payout offers across NBA and NHL. And March Madness is right around the corner, and Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. And one of my favorite things about March Madness is not betting the games at the start, but waiting for the live action, getting a feel for the game, and hopping in. And Bet365 makes it so easy to live bet. New customers can now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use that code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get that $150 in bonus bets. Again, win or lose. They have early payout offers across all the major sports. So whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $100 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And this is the PHLY Eagles podcast presented by Bet365, where it's never ordinary, and Ace Hardware Home Services. I saw somebody in the chat there say, we may never get a mic'd up Jalen Carter for the same reason as Nolan Smith.
Maybe.
It might just be too violent. By the way, they didn't highlight it in the mic'd up last night, Rich, but the still shot on the strip sack of Jalen Carter's paw to Patrick Mahomes' face, and just seeing his stupid face get squished by the face mask and him just like manhandle him down is one of my favorite images.
I got to give the Eagles so much credit because Mahomes wasn't even arguing about calls last night, right? I mean, that was pretty obvious, hands to the face, and he was like, we're just getting killed anyway.
I'm just going to take my lumps.
I might as well just get off the field.
So that leads me to one of my next favorite moments from Mic'd Up. It was Eric Reed. It was after, I believe, the Milton Williams strip sack.
Justin Reed, was it?
Or Justin Reed, excuse me, said, they're tagging the hell out of Pat out there.
Yep.
That was really nice to hear.
That was great. I would say from the Chiefs' perspective, there are a few things that I loved. First off, Chris Jones talking in the pregame huddle about the three-peat. That is just wonderful.
Oh, I had another Chris Jones nugget too.
Well, he was one of the main players that they had mic'd up. And it's just great to watch, like, just because you know what's coming. There's no three-peat coming, Chris.
So they were down 24-0, and Chris Jones said he was trying to pump up the sideline. And, like, I kind of felt like it was over. I think a lot of people felt like it was already over at that point. Chris Jones said, guys, we might have to dig a little deeper on this one. No, Chris, the game was over.
There was a mention. I don't know who it was from. Somebody was like, all right, this is our 28-3. No, guys. No, it wasn't. No, this was your 40-6. Yeah.
It was not.
This was your 40-6. And it's funny, like, all the shots of the Chiefs on the sidelines. Like, the Chiefs, they didn't get a lot of good stuff. By the way, where was Andy Reid being mic'd up? Like, I didn't hear from Andy Reid one time. Did he get away from it?
They showed him kind of like pacing back and forth, but you didn't hear him at all.
So
that was kind of weird.
You hear Mahomes and Chris Jones say stuff like just general cliches like, let's do something great. Or we've been here before. Let's just, one play at a time, stuff like that. You could tell after the first series of the second half where the Eagles stopped the Chiefs pretty quickly. I don't think it was a 3-and-out. I think they got a first down on that one. But the Eagles get the stop quickly. They don't even get it across midfield. And when the Chiefs go back, you think like, you can tell the cliches get a little more half-hearted after that. They're like, all right, let's go out there.
Let's give it our all. We're done. They knew it. And like, you could just see the dejectedness in their faces. And as you said, the tone of their comments, like They knew they were done. Like Patrick Mahomes, at one point they showed him. He's like, "We'll be back next year. We'll be back next year."
Like
It's
midway
like,
through the third quarter.
yeah.
Don't worry, we'll be back next year.
Yeah. Another one I had written down. I believe it was after the Devontae kill shot. Is that when Sirianni was going nuts and he's running down the sideline? He's like, "Yeah," and Connor Barwin out of nowhere doesn't even move. Just gives Sirianni like a little shoulder check, and Sirianni almost gets floored. And Barwin just kind of looks at him and smirks. I really enjoyed that moment too.
Connor Barwin, the real coach of the team. He is the head of the player development department.
And players developed really well this year.
Him, Matt Leo, and Matt Leo's Red Thong.
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't know the third. There's a third guy too. I'm blanking on his name. But anyway, whatever those guys are doing, like
keep it up.
Keep it up. And I wonder if other teams might try and poach some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would think Barwin at this point is pretty ingratiated.
Yeah.
Matt Leo could be, be bought. But yeah.
What about Matt Leo getting a bag this offseason from somebody?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That'd be hilarious.
The Eagles lose their player development staff. But hopefully not. You're right. They're doing a tremendous job when you look at the contribution from the youth. A couple other notes I have. The staffer, I couldn't tell who it was, said to Jalen Hurts when the game was like, when he accepted that it was finally kind of almost over, because he kept saying not until the fat lady sings and there's zeros on the board.
I get it. I was the same way, Jalen.
You cracked a beer in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter. But come on, in the fourth quarter. Jalen, they were up a million points. They were up a million points in the third quarter. And I was like 0-0.
Staffer said to Jalen Hurts, "You're the Super Bowl MVP." And again, back to his coolness, he retorted, Super Bowl champion.
Love it.
He didn't care about the personal award. Now, I'm sure there's a part of him that does, and it means a lot to him when he's cosplaying Jordan with the trophy and cigar and posing for pictures. Like, I'm sure he enjoyed that. But in the moment, it was just like, nah, it's not about that. It's about being a Super Bowl champion. And it was so cool.
Very cool. I thought Jalen came across great in that game. Another guy who came across great, and a guy that, I'm sorry, they just have to re-sign, Zach Baun.
Yeah, have to re-sign him. That interception was...
How about Nick Morrow talking to him before?
Yeah, it's how calling it.
Nick Morrow, who, I think a couple weeks ago, I was joining Day Niz and being like, ooh, I don't like this. I know he's just playing special teams, but it's not Nick Morrow, but it's just the bad memories.
Embodiment of Eagles stink last year. Like Nicholas Morrow was Bo's like mental picture
and it was bigger.
Stink.
It was bigger than him. It was Howie just trying to go with these veterans as these Band-Aid solutions. Sure. But anyway, Nick Morrow saying, you're going to get one. And then about a few minutes later, he got one.
Yeah, pretty wild. I said on Sunday that the Cooper DeJean pick six was like the moment I felt like it was over. I might change that to the Zach Baun interception because that led right to the AJ touchdown. Like that interception was, I think you kind of saw the win. Like Mahomes, like, you just saw it like leave his body. Like he became dejected.
You were just waiting for the counterpunch, and it just was never coming. It was just never coming.
And big shout out to Josh Sweat on that play, who just bull rushed.
Little Joey Thuney.
Right into Mahomes. And it kind of, I don't think Mahomes was going to complete the pass anyway, but he kind of got like hit on the hip a little bit, and it caused him to like kind of like, awkwardly throw it. So big shout out to Josh Sweat. I know Zach voted for Jalen Hurts. It came out today. I think there was 20 votes total. I think 12 went to Hurts, 6 went to Sweat, and like 2 went to Cooper DeJean.
Okay.
So I think, you could have made the case if you really wanted to give Josh Sweat the MVP, but obviously Jalen is very deserving of it. But that was Josh Sweat. What a farewell.
Little Joey Thuney and his short arms.
His T-Rex arms.
The AFC should be so embarrassed letting that team get that team was not good.
AFC were frauds this year, much like the NFC North, a bunch of frauds.
So one other thing from Baun that I enjoyed was the moment where he goes up to Reed Blankenship, and I guess they had the advanced stats up on the scoreboard, and he goes to Reed Blankenship and he goes, blitz rate 0%, pressure rate 38%. And Reed's like, holy bleep.
And that probably, at one point, I think heading into the fourth quarter, their pressure rate was like 52%.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure like the backups coming in like probably depleted that number some.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. No, when the game mattered, it was very close to 50%.
It was insane. And I saw some people I don't know if it was in our Discord or the comments here on Twitter. Remember when the Chiefs won, the offensive lineman and your boy Joe Tooney wore the 0 sack shirts? I saw some people saying that the Eagles defensive line should have 6 sack shirts.
Shout out to my friend Jimmy Kemsky, who had a great on the night of. He pulls that photo up and he says, "Fixed it for you," and it's Creed Humphrey, and he just puts the 6 instead of the 0.
Jimmy
so
has
satisfying.
A beautiful online brain.
He's got a talent for sure. Man, that was so satisfying. Here's another guy too. Like tomorrow, I want people tweeting Valentine's at Juju Smith-Schuster. Not just tomorrow, but until the end of time.
Did AJ retweet? Somebody brought it up and like retweeted that.
Well, AJ like freaked out at him
at the time. I think somebody repurposed it this week as well.
He was like, "Congrats, TikTok boy," basically.
TikTok boy's a great bird.
You know, I mean, with Jared McCain now, I'm not sure we can call him TikTok boy anymore. Yeah. But Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 catches for like 16 yards. Pathetic.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's.
Final notes from the mic'd up. The Jalen and Saquon, I think the quote was, now I might not have gotten this exactly right, but it was something along the lines of Jalen to Saquon, "You don't understand the difference you made. You were the missing piece." I almost bawled my eyes out. That was a really, really beautiful moment between those two. And then the Jalen Hurts, this was, I believe, Grant Calcaterra coming up to him and telling him to celebrate after the Devontae Smith touchdown. Said, "I can't lie to you, bruh. That last one changed my soul, man. That bleep ain't over until the fat lady sings." But I think that was the point where he accepted the victory. Just didn't want to like openly celebrate it. But that changed my soul, man.
I get it. It changed my soul too, Joe.
So just an incredible mic'd up. I don't know if you have any other notes that we missed from it, but just such an enjoyable view.
Here's one that I think is kind of interesting. It wasn't from the mic'd up. I don't know if you saw this, but it was released by NFL Films, I believe, but it got taken down on the A.J. Brown touchdown after the Zach Baun interception. The Eagles ran the wrong play there.
Yes.
Like the tight ends were lined up.
It wasn't on mic'd up because I was waiting for it.
It got scrubbed from the internet too. Like the tweet got deleted initially, which is like insane if the Eagles were like, "Take that down."
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they asked for that to be taken down?
I don't know. I'm very curious, the conspiracy theory. Anyway, the weird thing about that, Jamie, was the 2 tight ends lined up on the wrong side, but it actually turned out to be like a nice rub route.
Yeah.
They were running crossers, in opposite directions. AJ is wide open, and Jalen is talking with Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback's coach, on the bench after. This is one of the best Jalen. Like, oh, this is different from his persona at the microphone. He goes to Doug Nussmeier. He's like, "Man, we ran the wrong play there," or whatever. And Doug Nussmeier's like, the tight end should have been on the other side.
It worked. Maybe they'll put that in the playbook for next year.
And Doug Nussmeier, who's probably going to be the Saints offensive coordinator, just gives him a nice like, "That's all right. Good job."
I don't want to leave you hanging there.
Job.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. And somebody said,
"Okay, my guy says it's going to be on Turning Point, so maybe they're
maybe
releasing
ESPN.
it a little bit later."
Okay.
Anyway, that was a very funny moment, though.
Ryan Madden says, "I can't believe you haven't discussed Sirianni calling the kill shot to Smitty."
That's a great one. Yeah. That is a great
play
one.
was.
So what is the exact quote he gives? He's like, okay, he says, "If we score, it's over."
I mean, that's pretty beautiful.
And that's what it was. I mean, at the time, everybody thought, okay, they're just going to run the ball with Saquon. They've been fairly conservative all year in these situations, in not a bad way either, too, where it's just like, we have this great running game. Perfect call, perfect throw. It was great too. The mic'd up, they had a million angles of the catch and the throw, just perfect ball.
I've watched so many. I think that and the Cooper DeJean pick 6 are the 2 plays I've watched 25 plus times this week from every different angle. Some up in the stand, some in the sideline, some in the end zone. Just can't get enough of it. Just give me all of the content from that game.
It's one of those, as a fan, you watch a million different ways and you focus on different things every time too. Like on the Cooper DeJean pick, I like little Joey Thuney trying to catch him there in the end zone, but his arms aren't long enough. So
Little Joey Thuney. All right, a couple other things just to get out of here. Kellen Moore, he did mention that he's coming back for the parade tomorrow, which is cool.
One day of drinking's not going to hurt you.
No.
Your team is still going to suck next year, regardless of whether you do that or not.
Now, we kind of talked about it when we did the Tuesday show. He is taking over a brutal situation. There's only 32 of these jobs in the world, so you can never tell somebody they're wrong for taking it. Do you think Kellen Moore lasts more than 3 years in New Orleans?
They're going to have to hit on some draft picks in a way that they have not. Oh, by the way, how hilarious is it that Kellen Moore played against his quarterback in college and beat him like 57-7? Boise State against Fresno State when Carr was the quarterback. And Kellen Moore was, I think, a Heisman finalist at that point.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he beat his quarterback by 50 in college.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's pretty funny.
Hilarious. It is a terrible situation, though. I will say
they have no money, no real young talent. Like, it's just bad.
I haven't heard ZB on this, but I still don't blame him for taking that job because he's interviewed a bunch of times. I also don't think he's like the most charismatic guy in the world, so I could see him like not interviewing that well. And as we've talked about, the Eagles' offense is like, for most of the year, wasn't that great. Obviously, great finish.
I'm shocked Joe Brady wasn't a more enticing head coaching candidate than Kellen Moore, even with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't hate on him for taking it because it may never come around again. But
it's a tough job. It's
a tough job.
It's a bad job. What's going on with them, even off the field, is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
It's a really bad job. But I do like that he's coming back for the parade. What does he need to be doing? Like grinding tape tomorrow? Like he can fly on Saturday to New Orleans and start his life there.
Everybody on TV, thanks for watching. If you want to continue watching the end of the show, you can head to allphly.com. Yeah, you brought up Bobby Slowick the other day, and Sirianni's buzz cut says you got to take the head coaching job. Just look at the Texans.
Completely agree with that.
Yeah, you have to. I get it. You're getting flown around private. Yeah, but like very cool that he's going to be back. Throw him a beer at the parade tomorrow. Kellen Moore, I never have a bad word to say about you.
I just don't like that these coaches too, especially when they move jobs, right? They put so much time into coaching this offense all year, calling plays, developing a relationship with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and Devontae Smith and all that. And then they leave when it's time to celebrate and the rare time when you actually got to lift the Lombardi trophy. Like, Can we take one day to enjoy that? And Kellen Moore, good for you. You are going to do that.
Vic Fangio was asked about the parade tomorrow, and he said, well, I did get to do a parade in 1980 with the USFL Stars or whatever. He's like, I think this one's going to be a little bigger, though. I was like, yeah, just a bit, Vic.
Was that parade down Broad Street? You think they did it down
like he might have just been I was just going to say, like, maybe down Pattison back and forth. We have a super chat from Chase Daniel Plainview who says, who survives longest? This is a good question. Out of Shane, Kellen, and Gans, your boy Johnny Gans. Ooh.
I think Shane might be done after this.
I think Shane is the quickest done because the Colts are kind of a mess. Kellen versus Johnny Gans. The Cardinals showed some fight this year. I'll give them that. But
their defense still stinks.
He doesn't have a long leash.
I think Gans might have one more year if they're like mediocre.
I think Kellen's going to survive the longest out of these three.
If you tell me Kellen's going to get 3, I would slightly favor him.
I mean, this is where the NFL coaching carousel hiring process is such a bleep show. You have to give it Kellen at least 3, right?
They should.
Like you can't persecute him for the crimes of the organization past. Like he's inheriting a terrible situation. He needs a chance to get his guys in there, to possibly get a quarterback, to possibly get out of the cap hell they're in. Like, I would think they got to give him at least 3, if not 4.
Dennis Allen got 2.5.
Oof, that's brutal. I mean, it's a cash grab. Good for them. But, like, I think Kellen lasts the longest out of those.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope, Gans. Just not
loser.
Not a fan of the Gan man. If Shane keeps going, that's fine too. It just seems like that situation's pretty hopeless, though.
Does Frank Reich interest you at all as an OC candidate?
Frank Reich, the guy, interests me. I just think he's just like a wonderful guy, and clearly he has a good relationship with both Nick and Jeffrey and Howie independently, so that interests me. The idea of also a guy who won't get hired again interests me, but yeah.
Yeah. Smy Guy just said the Saints know all about not persecuting the deserving party. It's a good comment. A couple other notes before I get out of here. All right, we hit on the Dolphins. Did you see AJ Brown's social media post about like basically back to work? I'm more about the journey than the celebration and the mountaintop. It was very like, came away from it thinking that AJ Brown in his head thinks he's like a philosopher.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, win Super Bowls, you can be, I'll read your readings and follow your preaching, whatever. It got shared on my cousin chain yesterday and we were all like, weird post, but whatever.
I don't care.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants. And also he did a great thing.
That was awesome.
Meeting with the young man who got injured, protecting his sister in that plane crash in the Northeast. So.
He tweeted at him before the Super Bowl and said, when I come home with the hardware, I'll be sure to come and visit you. He went to the hospital. He visited with the entire family, brought them AJ Brown jerseys and Super Bowl champ hats. AJ Brown, great dude. Better human than football player?
Even better guy.
Maybe.
Good for you, AJ.
Did you see Chris Long on the Green Light podcast say that an Eagles player, he classified as not white, texted him at midnight on Tuesday night?
He specifically said it's not going to be a white guy?
Yeah, because
funny.
Somebody was like, I forget his co-host's name, and he was like, he went, is it meaning Coop?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's not a white guy. Texted him at midnight.
The guy just asked, like, is it Coop? And he went a step further. He's like, no, not a white guy.
Not a white guy. Said
right,
he got a text at midnight asking if the jacket was still in his possession, the infamous Super Bowl parade jacket with the Iverson jersey. And Chris Long made it seem as though he was going to try and get it to said player. Now, my guess is it's BG. Do we see the Chris Long Super Bowl jacket at the parade tomorrow?
I think so. You think we see what was he wearing, an Iverson jersey too?
It was an Iverson jersey and then I don't know if it was mink or just faux fur or whatever, but a floor-length Super Bowl jacket.
So, we'll see who it is. There's actually like a small mural in Fairmount of him. I used to drive by it. I think it was on
oh, nice.
near 16th and Fairmount. I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, it's not huge.
It's not huge.
But it's a parking. It's a city of murals, Rich.
It's like a Sixer statue size mural. But whatever, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. So maybe that jacket makes an appearance at the parade tomorrow. Another quick note, Adam Schefter kind of alluded to maybe an opening night leak for the Eagles' opponent next year. Now, this is Eagles are going to have a home game. They get to unveil the banner, world champions. It's going to be a great night here in Philadelphia. A lot of speculation, at least from Amon-Ra St. Brown and some other people I saw online, kind of hoping it would be the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look, I understand the Lions got depleted this year with some injuries. I still think it's disrespectful to play the I want that rematch. Because the Eagles won in the championship game in the Super Bowl by a combined score of 98 to 42. And some of those were garbage time points.
If I was a Lions fan, I wouldn't want to hear that either.
No, I wouldn't either. The Eagles were steamrolling everybody. You lost. Jared Goff threw 5 picks to the Commanders. Maybe chill out. So there was some speculation it might be the Commanders as a rematch of the championship game. There was some speculation that maybe it was the Lions just from a marquee primetime matchup. Adam Schefter was on a podcast yesterday and alluded to, now I speak Schefter very well because we spoke on the radio for years and years, and he speaks a certain way when he knows something but doesn't want to report it. He kind of dances around, and he said something along the lines of, the NFL is going to have a lot to think about with the Bears at the Eagles for NFL's opening night. Bears-Eagles opening night. It'll be great to start the season 1-0, Rich.
That would be good. I wonder if Fox would just fight for that Lions game too. That's
perhaps
gonna be a classic, probably.
I think there's a good chance. 1, Caleb Williams will get hyped up all offseason. 2, it's a huge market in Chicago. 3, Ben Johnson, the hot coaching candidate, is new there.
I feel like the Rams would have been a good choice too. Obviously Washington, although again Fox might fight for that one.
I don't think they're going to do a division game in week 1, but
they've done it before.
Yeah, they have. But it looks like it could be Bears coming to Philadelphia for opening night if you believe Adam Schefter. And
Joe Shane and the Giants coming to Philadelphia for week 1? Yeah. Okay. So it might be the Bears.
Yeah.
Big market.
And tomorrow, parade coverage. Let's just talk about what we got in store here at PHLY. Anthony's going to be kicking it off early tomorrow, 9 to 11. We're going to have other shows going on, Philly, Sixers, Flyers as normal, but the whole staff is going to be out at the parade, celebrating, capturing footage. We'll have a presence down at the stage. Fran Duffy's going to be down at the stadium, sending the team off. Vinny Curry was supposed to be on a float, but my man came down with the flu today. So hopefully he bounces back quick tomorrow so he can get out there and be on a float, which would be awesome. You're going to be out there roaming the city. I know Bill Matz and Brenna and Bree and Kyle and Charlie, myself and Julia, we're all going to be out amongst the people. Unfortunately, logistically kind of too hard to coordinate a meetup for the sickos and diehards. Would have been awesome. Maybe next year's parade we can get that in order. But everybody's going to be out there. We're all going to be capturing footage. The Eagles, Zach is doing, thank God, a Father's Day tomorrow. He's not going to work. He's taking his son to the parade. So he's going to be out doing an awesome core memory for Reed. Beautiful stuff there. Bo's taking the kids to the parade, but he's going to be coming back here to do a show at 5 o'clock with Julia and Fran.
Yep.
So everybody gets their dad duties out of the way. We all get to enjoy the parade. And then 5 o'clock tomorrow, the Eagles show, recapping the ceremony, recapping the parade, bringing you some of our footage. Should be pretty great. But it's just going to be an awesome day tomorrow. And I hope everybody logistically planning it, getting in and out of the city, I have a lot of anxiety about, but that's okay. The parade is going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I am taking my daughter. My 6-year-old is coming in. And last night before bed, she said, Dad, I get to see the Eagles tomorrow. Or she said, I get to meet the Eagles tomorrow. And I said, meet is a strong word. I said, there's going to be about 1 million people. And she was like, I was like, it's going to be the most people you've ever seen in your life. And she's kind of blown away by that. So if any of the Eagles want to come by and meet Skylar, yeah, you can make a 6-year-old girl or a 5-year-old girl's life, soon to be 6. But it should be a pretty awesome day. Do you have a actual game plan? Or are you just going to go and get absorbed into the crowd? What's your plan tomorrow?
I live pretty close to the parade route, Flex. But
congrats on all your success.
Thank you. No, it'll just be like a short walk, and yeah, I'll try and catch up with people. But yeah, I'll just be with the people.
Yeah. Are you going to try to follow to the Parkway once it passes you?
I don't know. I guess it'll be a game time decision.
That's what I did last time. Me and Anthony were at the Kimmel Center broadcasting, and once it passed us, I kind of walked like through Rittenhouse with my wife, drinking beers out of the backpack, and we ended up watching it in Logan Circle at one of the Jumbotrons. The Parkway was a zoo last time, but it should be pretty cool. I saw all the Jumbotrons get taken out to the Parkway today. It should be a spectacular day tomorrow.
A lot of porta potties in the city. I can confirm that right now. Just popping up all over the place.
Yeah, the art museum is covered in porta potties right now. So
most porta potties in the world in Philadelphia. Congratulations, everybody. We did it.
So it should be a great day tomorrow. Make sure you're following PHLY Sports on Instagram and Twitter. We're going to do our best, cell phone service dependent, to get as much footage out for those that can't be there. We'll be kind of vlogging and encapsulating all the footage we acquire over the coming days. Julia, Bo, and Fran will have some of that footage in the 5 o'clock show tomorrow. So don't miss that one. And then, of course, 8 o'clock tonight, a little prime time, Zach and Bo after locker room clean out today. They'll have all the latest from the locker room tonight. So we got you covered wall to wall. Anthony Gargano show tomorrow morning. Normal programming. Eagles 5 o'clock show after the parade tomorrow. Should be a great day in Philadelphia. To everybody in here, let's get a little thumbs up on the YouTube page. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Visit the Locker Room store if you haven't. It's a great time to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. We love spending it with all of you. So thank you for hanging out with us. As always, for Julia, Rich Hoffman, I'm Jamie Lynch. Have a great day tomorrow, everyone. It's going to be one to remember. And what a mic'd up it was last night. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.